right. Sean Unwin here, Shop Task YYC, and what I'd like to do for this edition of the podcast is do a breakdown of some of the skating in The Wizard of Wall Street. So Wizard of Wall Street is a VOD, a video on demand, produced by Mike Torres, featuring the skating of Leon Basin while they kind of adventure through New York City. I think for the most part they're skating around in Manhattan, but I'm sure there's other parts of the city as well. I'm sure in Brooklyn and these sorts of things. Now, personally, when I watched The Wizard of Wall Street, a lot of what I saw Leon do just looked like magic. You know, it was beyond my comprehension. It was really hard to understand what was going on. I was just more mesmerized by the flow. But of course, when I see Leon do these amazing things, it gets me motivated to try some of these things myself. And so I started watching the video a little more closely and better understanding how he's doing some of these things and how he makes it look so nice. So what I've done is I've kind of queued up one of the clips, the opening sequence to the video where Leon does a lot of things, but the things he does in that opening sequence, you'll see him do time and time again throughout the video. So it's a good kind of case study where we can understand kind of all the skating in the video, I guess what I'm trying to say. Now, before I get into the breakdown, I'd just like to show you this acronym here. So BREW, balance, rotation, edging, and weight transfer, and I got compression written at the bottom there because I'm going to talk about compression as well. Compression really is a combination of the balance and weight transfer. So balance of his body, weight transfer where the weight is in his feet and in his skates. And now this fundamentals here come from Skate.ia. I learned this from Trish Alexander. There we go. Trish Alexander, who is the owner and runner of Skate.ia, and she taught me a lot. And I took her level 1 and level 2 certification and look forward to taking more classes from her. And this is something you'd learn in your level 1, is that BREW. Balance, rotation, edging, weight transfer are fundamentals of skating. Okay, so let's get into the first sequence. Let's get my head out of the way. And I got the first one queued up. So let's watch the first sequence in regular time so we can just appreciate his beautiful skating. Right? Flowing from edge to edge, different foot positions, transferring weight side to side. Wonderful. Okay, let's back that up. We'll watch it in reverse as I bring it back to the beginning, and then we'll go through slowly and look at what he's doing. You'll see some common positions here. A lot of corresponding edges with the counter rotation. We'll see a lot of the Mohawk position. We're going to see a lot of that compression. Okay. New York City. Here we are. So, starting here, balanced on his right foot, very, very soundly on that center edge, what we would consider more or less a ready position for following the lower body. So a knee bend, right, knees over top of his toes, more or less, ankle flexion, right, shoulders slightly tipped forward. And you can see here he's already opened up as if he's going to be rotating. You can see there's a slight rotation already to his left as he's lifting up his left leg. Let's step through. So you can see a bit of kind of a counter rotation going on here, which is going to give him some power to bring this left foot around. So his shoulders are rotating to his left. You can see his hips slightly rotated to his right as he lifts that up. So now strongly counter rotated, kicking this foot out this direction as he's rotating his shoulders. And now following through by rotating his hips in the direction of his shoulders as he nice and gently sets down toe to heel into that Mohawk position here. And now he rotated to his left, brought his hips around to his left into that Mohawk. And now you can see from the direction of his left arm and the way he's looking here, he's actually starting to rotate a bit to his right. So now he's transferring that rotation. Boom. Right, still looking this way. I guess he is still rotating to his left, isn't he? Now, this is kind of interesting. So this would be similar to like a heel pivot, but he's not actually lifting his toe here to pivot on that back wheel. He's keeping a nice knee bend here, and he's actually going to be more rotating on that third wheel. So it's a pivot, but his foot is actually staying flat on the ground. So you can see, if we're following this crack here on the ground, this right foot, it's not traveling in the direction of this one here. It's staying stationary, acting as a pivot as this one comes around, and then he's going to be pivoting on that third wheel as that left leg comes around. Pivot, 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 boom. Now into our backward skating position. So use that Mohawk to transition to a backward skating position. A slight swizzle there to a cross. And now uncrossing, right, rotating to his right. You can see that right foot now carving a C around. He's more on the toe there. You can see the heel is lifted up slightly as he whips that around. There's a nice deep compression here. That knee bend, right? That's the compression that I'm referring to as he snaps it into place. Boom. So cool. Boom. Right into place here. Nice. So one more time. Nice. That rotation stopped it here, riding in like a mohawk or a crab. Now, inside edges, right and left foot, would be more or less traveling on an arc this way. Here it comes. And again, that same third wheel pivot as he brings it back around to the backward skating position. Now, last time, he kind of stopped here, and then he brought that right foot back around. So he stopped his rotation and turned back towards his right. But now he keeps that rotation towards his left. Corresponding edges, so right outside, left inside. Now rotating his upper body around, and then his hips following through as he more or less pivots on that third wheel, creating a three-turn, or a gazelle would be the street name for that maneuver. Finishing here, strong on those corresponding edges, right? So he maintained, look at that, so right outside edge, transitions, boom, to the left outside edge. So it's a rotation of his upper body and a transfer of weight from corresponding edge to opposite corresponding edge. And a little counter rotation here, right? You can see this counter rotation. See a lot of this type of positioning in aggressive skating, this counter rotation, where you're on your edges, right? Your skates are, you're going to be stronger on those edges this way than you would be on a center edge. But when you're on those edges, this is going to make you want to turn, right? But if you counter rotate with your upper body, you can resist the natural turn of the skates. That counter rotation allows him to bring it back here, back into that cross position. Now, with his left foot in front in this cross, he's going to have a strong rotation to his left. Now, I don't know exactly why this is true, but I know from my own skating, anytime my legs are crossed, I can turn towards the foot that's crossed in front. So his left foot's in front. He's going to be able to rotate strong towards his left. Now he's into that same kind of pivot, that third wheel pivot as this one carves around. But now notice this, he's on that outside edge. Very, very cool. Right? Super strong, very stylish. And then boom. All the way into that mohawk inside edge. Traveling around a strong arc kind of in this direction here. You can see that right foot. Yeah, there's that almost pivot again. Boom, into position. Looking over his right here, that counter rotation so he doesn't keep following through, turning to his left. There we go. And boom. So that counter rotation allowed this foot to swizzle hard to that outside edge. And now this is really cool. We can watch the rotation. Look, watch this. So he's looking down, right? He's tipping forward at the hips. So he's lifting that foot, and look at how strong of a rotation that is. Whipping that left foot around. Whoa, kind of like a toe pivot here, but only on that satellite foot. This foot's not even touching, but it is similar to that toe position. Around, three turn, and now he lets that right foot come in beside into a strong, strong, strong kind of parallel turn. But again, counter rotation, right? You can see if we just were to cover up, I almost use my hand there, you can't see that, but if we covered up his body here, like if I put myself over top. We just see his legs. This would look like whew, he's turning super hard to his left, but he's able to edge so hard and maintain it with that counter rotation of his upper body. Oh, where did I go? And now we can follow through with the rest. And then just beautiful filming. Mark Torres continues along that straight path as Leon turns away. And what a beautiful finish to that maneuver. Okay, so a lot going on there. That was really cool to see. And now let's fast forward to 2 minutes. And let's see what I have queued up here. Can't remember exactly what this was. Okay, yeah, this is cool. So let's just watch this sequence. Nice. So let's bring that back. Okay. So what we saw there was some similar things to that first sequence that we watched. Let's break this down now. So now, again, picking up that left foot just as he did in the beginning of that first sequence. But now he's balanced really nicely on this right foot in that strong, ready position, slightly on the outside edge. That's giving him a little bit more balance, actually being on that outside edge as opposed to a center edge. This left leg is extending out. What he's going to do is he's going to gently set that down into a slide. Right now the wheels are touching. You got to be careful when you're attempting something like this because this really needs to be on the edge. You need to be strong on that outside edge, and there needs to be power in this leg. So he sets it down gently, but with a strong leg. That wheels drift through, and now he's slowly putting more weight onto this foot, which is allowing the wheels to grip. And then he gets started into a bit of that pivot. So again, third wheel is kind of acting as the pivot as this foot satellites around. But now he's, hard to say. Looks like he's pretty centered, maybe a little bit on the outside edge, like we saw in that other sequence, that pivot on that outside edge. Excellent. Now he's picking up that right foot, transferring all his weight to his left. So all the weight is here on his right foot. He sets it down gently, transferring the weight to his left. And as he puts weight onto that foot, right, he's rotating strong. Ah! Touchy mouse. So all the weight on the right, drifting those wheels slightly, putting weight onto that left foot, opening up to that Mohawk. He's rotating strong to his left, and you can see that left arm just appearing in the screen here, right? That's indicating that he's rotating to his left. And now carving hard on this inside edge, right? His weight is kind of around here. But as that foot whips around, right, it's generating lots of power on that satellite foot, pseudo kind of toe pivot there. Whips it around, boom, back into that ready position. So strong on that outside edge. Now he's centered. And look, he can finish that rotation all the way to fakie. Boom. Right now, counter rotating back to his right. Edging, right? Corresponding edges. Outside edge, inside edge, right? That's really clear there. As he's turning now to his right, that rotation. You can see his weight is like somewhere around here. Right? And then into that three turn. And that three turn is essentially a strong rotation of the upper body, corresponding edges, and then transferring to the opposite corresponding edges. And the weight, if we're looking heel to toe, there's more weight toes here. And then, yeah, let's see. Toes here. If we're watching his right foot, this is more clear. More on the toe here as it curves this way. And then you can see now to his heels, right? Now it's his heels. Boom. Toe to heel. And a slight counter rotation as he finishes that turn. Beautiful. Excellent. Okay. One more I wanted to look at. 308. Here we go. Let's back this up and we'll watch it. Again, though, you can see the way it starts. balancing on the right foot, lifting up his left. This one's a little different because he's lifting it over top of a pillar, but whoa, magic. And I actually have a name for this move here, that 360 on the ground there. Now, just to give you a little inside info, there's a maneuver called the Stunami and the Stunado, and that's a rotation with your legs crossed. I don't know if we have any good examples of that here, but he's rotating with his legs crossed. They call kind of a 180, a forward to backward rotation with your legs crossed, a Stunami, and then the 360 where he goes forward to forward, complete 360 with his legs crossed. They call that a Stunado. So I've nicknamed this move the Junado. The Junado. Improvised by Leon Basin. Okay. So again, right? Shoulders are open. Hips are slightly less rotated. He sets that foot down into that Mohawk position, transferring all his weight to his left as that kind of pseudo pivot happens. And now, what's different here is he is on kind of the wrong edges, kind of generally speaking. Normally, if he was rotating to his left, he would have his right foot on the outside edge and his left foot on the inside edge. But it's opposite here. Left foot is on the outside, right foot is on the inside. And this requires a really strong rotation of the upper body. And he can rotate that through, boom, staying on those edges. So he's still on this left edge, which is really hard to do. So to maintain that outside edge with that left foot as he's turning to his left takes a lot of power. And boom, now he's here. So he's still on those same corresponding edges, left, outside, right, inside. But because he has all that energy turning him this way, and now he's on these edges, it's a really natural spin around to backwards. And then he finishes it, maintaining that same edge, left foot outside, right foot inside. It's kind of actually an outside edge here. But now switching more to a center edge, and then brings it around, boom, into that Gazelle 3-turn is also what we would call that. Boom, there we go. And this move here is the one that I really caught my interest because I had never seen this done before. Being on kind of the wrong corresponding edges, but that allows this super smooth 360 to happen. He finishes it perfectly, right? When I've been trying this, I get to this point and I'm still rotating, but such great body awareness. He adds a little counter rotation right at the perfect time, boom, right? And the counter rotation is guided by his head. You can see once he gets into like where his head is, always looking the proper direction, and then boom. His head hardly moves. Amazing. Cool. So that's my breakdown of a couple of the moves in Wizard of Wall Street. So check it out, watch the video, try and learn something. And what I'll do is I'll film myself attempting some of these moves and kind of post my progress as I try and master the wizard skating on, try and get to the same level as Leon's at. But by the time I learn this one, he'll be on to the next thing, and we'll break that down when that comes up. Okay, excellent. Thank you for your time, everyone.